I have never avoided my responsibilities in this family. I showed up every time, and I always gave more than 100%. But after a while, I started feeling like I wasn't getting that same effort back from the rest of my family. Now I have 3 ex-wives telling me over and over, "Cody, you need to change." Honestly, it felt like all of us were going through some kind of emotional shift together. Call it male menopause or whatever you want. My energy dropped, my drive dropped, and eventually, I just didn't feel like I could keep doing the hard work anymore. Hey, besties. So here's the update. Cody and Robyn finally closed on Coyote Pass. After that, they hosted a small party at their house. During the gathering, Cody ended up crying. Well, what many call fake crying, about how broken his relationships are with his kids, and right beside him, Robyn kept telling him that it wasn't his fault. According to her, the real problem is that his ex-wives supposedly put ideas into the heads of their adult kids. And that, she says, is why those kids don't like Cody or her. One of you actually left a very sharp comment about this, and it made perfect sense. You pointed out that on the show Special Forces, Cody took responsibility for the breakdown in his family. He admitted that as the head of the family, the failure was ultimately his fault, especially when it came to his children. But then, as you said, he went home to Robyn. And the moment he walked through that door, the story shifted. Suddenly, it wasn't his fault anymore. It was the children's fault. And honestly, that matches what we've seen for years. No one enables Cody's denial more than Robyn. This whole episode made it clear. A lot of these strange thoughts Cody repeats are coming straight from her. Robyn also has this habit of revealing more about herself than she realizes. For those who don't know her well, let me reintroduce her. And if you already know her, you'll recognize this immediately. She sat there and told Cody and the cameras that adults can influence their children and turn them against the other parent during a divorce. She said this with complete confidence. And the truth is, Robyn would know exactly how that works because she did it during her own divorce from her ex-husband, Preston Jessup. Robyn used to describe Preston as abusive, irresponsible, and unwilling to be involved in his kids' lives. But here's the difference. After she married Cody, the same behavior she accused Preston of suddenly became acceptable. Cody didn't see many of his kids. He didn't pay child support until he was legally forced to. He didn't help with health insurance for Christine or Janelle's kids. Yet Robyn's children, through Cody, get full support, insurance, and financial help. And when you look back at her divorce from Preston, none of the things she claimed about him ever showed up in court. There were no abuse allegations, no police reports, no findings from a judge, nothing. Instead, it was Preston who accused Robyn of manipulating the kids and turning them against him. Now, years later, Robyn is making the exact same claims about Cody's ex-wives, saying they are influencing the adult kids and shaping the way they see their father. Robyn keeps repeating that there are hurt feelings, misunderstandings, and heavy influencing going on. She says it's important for Cody to have a relationship with his kids and for the kids to have a relationship with her, too. Then she adds something that sounds simple but carries a lot of weight. She says parents don't always realize how much the little things they say can influence how their children see the other parent. Coming from Robyn, that sentence says more than she intended. It's pretty rare to actually see triangulation happening in real time, but that's exactly what we're watching with Robyn here. She is positioning herself between Cody and his children by telling him that someone is blocking his relationship with them. And in her mind, that someone is always the other wives. She's painting the picture that these women are the ones causing the harm, while Cody and the children are the victims. In Robyn's version, the kids aren't forming opinions based on their own lived experiences. They're not thinking for themselves or processing what they went through. Instead, she claims they're just repeating whatever their mothers tell them to feel. And while she's saying all of this, she's softly playing with her hair, taking her time, and slowly setting it up so that Cody thinks these ideas are his own. This all happens right after Cody admits that maybe he should see a therapist, get some tools, and figure out how to talk to his kids. Robyn agrees that therapy could help, but then quickly shifts the focus, insisting that the real problem isn't Cody at all. It's his ex-wives. She repeats that the kid's behavior is the mom's fault, and by doing that, she removes any responsibility from Cody. She completely enables his harmful patterns because, in my opinion, she isn't interested in helping him solve the real issues. The truth is, Cody can't repair these relationships until he takes actual responsibility. And now we're seeing what these so-called apologies are really about. They're not meant to heal anything. They're about Cody protecting his image, ending the negative talk around him, and trying to clean up how he looks to the world. It isn't about caring, it's about control. And Robyn isn't helping, because she keeps telling him the problem isn't what he's done, but what the moms supposedly told their children. Then Robyn tries to blame polygamy itself, saying that dads in plural families naturally don't spend as much time with their kids. Meanwhile, she acts exhausted and frustrated, saying she's tired of being blamed for how his children feel about him. But the truth is, it's his responsibility, not hers. Cody then jumps in with his own claims. He says he wishes he had more influence over his adult kids because it would make things really different. He insists that he has reached out to every single one of them multiple times, and according to him, if they don't have a relationship with him, it's because they won't reciprocate. He even says that no matter how they act, there will always be a Cody-sized hole in their hearts. Robyn's whole narrative is built around the idea that none of this is Cody's fault. She says the kids are just victims of their mother's negative comments, and that polygamy is the real reason Cody didn't bond with his children. But this ignores the long, painful process it takes for someone to finally stop communicating with a parent. People don't cut ties for no reason. They do it after years of problems, years of broken trust, years of a parent not showing up, emotionally or physically. Sometimes the manipulation, the neglect, or the emotional damage becomes so overwhelming that stepping away is the only way to stay sane. We even heard Mykelti say she needs space from Robyn because she never knows if Robyn is going to manipulate her. That says a lot. To show how closely Cody repeats Robyn's talking points, look at what he told Fox 5 in New York. He said that during the divorces, the children were victims who had to pick sides, and because polygamy made them closer to their mothers, that's why they ended up pulling away from him. And so, according to Cody, it was just a natural shift that the kids drifted away from him, and that this distance hurt him deeply. He says that pain made him become toxic, as he puts it. But now that Cody is back home and has processed everything through conversations with Robyn, he no longer accepts responsibility for what happened. He now claims he only took accountability on special forces because he was in a military-style environment and simply told them what they wanted to hear. In his new version, it's a two-way street. The kids are victims of the divorce, polygamy is to blame for their distance, and his own toxic behavior doesn't really count because the family is on a TV show where everyone's faults get pointed out. This alone shows how much Robyn's influence reshapes his thinking, what he calls transmuting his thoughts. She feeds him ideas, and because she always agrees with him, he holds on to them. A narcissist cannot exist without an enabler, and an enabler is someone who constantly supports the narcissist's view of themselves and reassures them that their behavior is justified. Cody wants to hear that none of this is his fault. He wants to hear that everything is the ex-wife's fault. He wants permission to stay angry and avoid responsibility, because being accountable is difficult and threatens the fragile ego of a narcissist. Robyn's manipulation is extremely clear now, although it wasn't always visible because we rarely saw her and Cody's one-on-one conversations in the past. For years, the show mostly showed Cody with the other wives, while Robyn stayed off camera as much as possible. But now, because Robyn has to appear more for filming, we're seeing in real time how she influences him, and it hasn't just been one divorce, it has been 3. Cody claims that this alone should have crushed his confidence, and he thinks it's a miracle that he's functioning at all after everything he believes has been piled on him. He even quotes a saying he heard somewhere: "The knife of the father is never out of the heart of his children." He tries to use this as his explanation, saying it breaks his heart. And right beside him, Robyn enables him again by making the divorces sound like something that happened to him. According to her, the wives left him, and they are the ones who put all this hurt on him. She ignores completely that Cody gave up on the family long before they walked away. In the beginning of this video, Cody said he went through male menopause and that his testosterone dropped, and because his testosterone dropped, he supposedly didn't care anymore. That reasoning is bizarre and doesn't really make sense. Yes, testosterone decreases with age, but that doesn't explain disengaging from your family. Maybe, at most, it could affect libido, but it doesn't explain abandoning emotional connection or responsibility. Cody goes back and forth constantly. First he says, "It's not my fault." Then he says, "Well, maybe it was my fault," and then swings back again with, "I'm not sure." Meanwhile, Robyn acts like it's incredible that he's even surviving, considering that the 3 women he mistreated for years finally chose to leave him. She ignores that he neglected them, controlled them, used their money, and emotionally mistreated them. Instead, she insists it's their fault for leaving him and hurting him, while overlooking all the ways he and she hurt them for so long. Then Cody quotes a line from a book, likely an Italian book, saying that a father's pain and the harm he inflicts remains forever in the hearts of his children. But even when he quotes this, he still frames the problem as something that happened to him, instead of something he caused. And yes, that quote about a father's impact is true. And yes, Cody does need to take responsibility. But Robyn always finds a way to make sure he doesn't. She listens to him talk about his regrets and turns it into something softer, something that excuses his behavior. She tells him that having those conversations with his kids would be good for him, but then she shifts the focus again. When she sees Cody being rejected by his children, she says she sees herself. She talks about how she rejected her own biological father for years, and how even though she was angry, she still needed him and still wants him in her life. So now we have both Cody and Robyn projecting their own dad issues into this situation. Cody begins crying about not fixing things with his father, and then Robyn starts crying about hers. She says that when she watches Cody's kids pull away, it reminds her of how she pulls away from her own father, how she looks like him, and how she wants a relationship with him. But the odd part is, Robyn's father is alive. He lives in Montana. If she really wanted a relationship with him, she could call him at any time. There's nothing stopping her. And if she doesn't want that relationship, that's fine too. People are allowed to set boundaries with their parents. I've done that myself. You can decide not to continue a relationship, and that's okay. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, but it's a choice you respect because you know why you made it. In the same way, Cody's kids aren't rejecting him for no reason. He rejected them first. He was absent for years. He ignored them, neglected them, took little interest in their lives. He's not the victim of their rejection. He is living with the consequences of his own choices. And Robyn, constantly framing the kids as doing something wrong, makes it even more frustrating, because after years of being neglected, of course, they don't want to be around him. Cody even admits that the situation has been complicated and confusing. Then he says he probably said a lot of unkind things about their mothers, and that contributed to the damage. He follows it with, "That wasn't a road I should have ever gone down." But Robyn jumps back in with her usual role, saying she has no voice with Christine, Mary, or Janelle. But she does have a voice with Cody. And she uses that voice to tell him he has lost the good man she married and needs to find himself again. Robyn constantly gives Cody an excuse for everything he has done to everyone around him. She shows him endless empathy, because if she didn't, she would have to admit that she encouraged, supported, and enabled all of it. Cody acts on his own impulses, but Robyn feeds them, supports them, and then gives him an escape hatch by telling him none of it is his fault. And honestly, I can't imagine being with a man who has children with another woman, but doesn't have relationships with them. I can't imagine being with someone who doesn't support his own kids, doesn't pay for them, and doesn't care enough to show up for them. Because if a man will do that to his other children, what's stopping him from doing it to yours? If he speaks cruelly about the exes, he will eventually speak that way about you. If he disrespects other women, he'll disrespect the woman he's with. Whatever Robyn is doing to convince herself that Cody isn't at fault makes no sense. Maybe she tells herself these stories to survive in that marriage. Maybe that's why she has that emotional meltdown in the upcoming tell-all, where she cries and says she doesn't support everything Cody does. And she starts rambling about how she doesn't always agree with him. When you stay with a man like this, you have to tell yourself big stories. You have to tell yourself huge lies to justify it. Because truly, I couldn't do it. I couldn't stay with someone who was having sex with other women while married to me. I couldn't stay with someone fathering children with other women while calling me the legal wife. I couldn't accept my husband spreading his money across several households, and when those households eventually break apart, Robyn turns around and blames the women who were hurt instead of the man who hurt them. It's delusional. Christine and Janelle aren't perfect, no one is, but I don't see them telling their kids what to think. Those kids are thinking for themselves. They've made their own decisions based on what they lived through. They watched their father mistreat their mothers. They felt the neglect firsthand. They experienced the distance and the emotional harm. That's their reality. Robyn doesn't get to rewrite it, and she doesn't get to tell Cody it isn't his fault. Those kids deserve their own feelings. And from everything I've seen, Christine and Janelle aren't influencing them at all. Cody created that distance himself. So Robyn blames the women, she enables Cody, and the delusions run deep. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye, besties.